All right, welcome to the Keeping It Real podcast, episode 3. We have a very special guest today, Giuditta Gareri.
And I love the name of the podcast, actually. That's why I accepted it, because my body said, keeping it real, like that's...
Yeah, we want everything to be authentic, just to keep it real. And obviously, you're very, you have a big following on social media, and you share a lot of similar views, and expressing those views. If one person resonates with our views, maybe we did our job.
Yeah, I agree.
So...
And we were just talking about how we met.
Oh, yeah.
So we decided to let you in on it.
Funny story. Our first interaction was like, our first communication was kind of interesting, I would say. I'll let you explain it.
Well, you explain it. You're the one who reminded me.
Okay, so I had a buyer, and I went to one of your listings, and then we saw the house, and we're like, okay, it's overpriced. So instead of just talking as a realtor, I'm like, hey, your house is overpriced. Could we just buy it for this? And I think you were upset, no?
Yeah, I remember that conversation, actually. So first of all, I know we just said that offline, but it's important for everybody to know. I remember that because no one even talks to me like that. So I'm just like, what? Who is this guy? And then I have coached, I told you, I've coached real estate agents in my career, most of my career, since I was like 19, and I'm like 43. So I teach agents to not do that, to actually be like curious. Hey, why did you come up with that price? Is it maybe your father-in-law or a builder, or you have a relation? Is there a reason why you priced it like that? I'm just curious. Like, be curious about the person, or maybe find out about my history if I have experience first before you just knock me down.
I think we might need some coaching from you now. Hopefully.
So I remember being upset and being like, what?
Honestly, we took a lot of, I actually took a lesson from that. As soon as that interaction happened, I called a good friend of mine, Maria, and I'm like, hey, what's going on here? And she's like, oh, it's okay. It's this is just how we communicate as realtors. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, okay, it's definitely not. Something's wrong here. So we ended up, I guess.
Well, I'm going to apologize in advance, because I'm usually very nice to people all the time.
Of course. And I think I actually texted you like, hey, I think it's a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And I think we put it.
I remember. But I remember that. I'm like, what?
And like, you
Why
didn't.
aren't people asking questions or curious or even listening anymore?
It's fine. And then prior to coming here, you didn't know that was me, right?
I did not know. That's why when you told me, I remember meeting you. I'm like, oh my God, that was you. So this is how we're starting our conversation.
So it's, no, but that's kind of, I guess, the nice thing, right? It's like, we're professionals, and we're nice to one another, and respect goes a long way. Yeah. We try not to hold grudges. And I think that it's part of like our viewpoints on society as well.
And you were very professional after you thought about it, and you did say, I'm sorry that it came at you that way. Yeah. So I appreciate that. So
maybe you want to just like tell us a little bit about yourself, and how you got into the career, and what you do now.
In real estate?
Yeah.
So real estate was chosen for me. It's in my blood. I was born, and then they said, you're in real estate. And then, so my parents were real estate agents. Okay. And then my parents ran a real estate business, and then they started Concept 100, turned into Remax Excellence, that sold to Remax Premier like 10 years ago or so. So my
former
brokerage.
Oh, wow.
We sold to. We were the #1 brokerage for the whole time that we were in the region. Yeah. And so I was born into the business, and I was a secretary. I did admin. I did like every single job, because, you know, you're a laborer when you're an Italian immigrant kid. And so I just did everything in the business. And then I recruited, I coached, I did mostly the brokerage side of the business.
Okay, so like managing.
Yeah, mostly like leading the business, recruiting for the business. Then I worked at Richard Robbins International when it was at its peak, and I was one of their youngest coaches. So I fell in love with coaching, training agents across North America. I was on the leadership team of the luxury franchise downtown Century. What's it called? Chestnut Park.
Oh, yeah.
So I was on their leadership team. And then I also went to a tech company properly to help build the organization. So I did a lot of things on the leadership side rather than the selling side.
What was your favorite part of the whole experience?
It was not the narcissism and everybody chasing money and awards that they're going to go into the grave without. I'm just saying. But my favorite part is, you know, transforming someone's life from never thinking they're going to make it or become someone or be something, and then have this incredible new future that they couldn't imagine for themselves before. And then freeing a lot of agents from the trap of like they're 24/7 working, killing themselves, their lives, their families, their marriages, not even realizing it, and like reducing how much they work and doubling or tripling their income. So giving them their life back. Those are the two things that matter the most to me.
Yeah, because reality is in real estate, it's a pretty demanding job. And like there's times when you're out with the family and you have kids and a husband, and so you know what it's like. And basically the phone rings and you got to answer it because you don't want to lose the deal.
Yeah. So my father passed away when I was 25, 26. He had cancer, and I stayed next to him, and and both my parents ran the business. So for me, that was a big deal. It was a big loss in the organization. And he had the best laugh, so you guys would have like sold it for millions of dollars. And he was like the recruiter who, I have to tell you the story. He was the recruiter, the best recruiter with the little Italian accent that would be like, "Hey, Joe, Ma, what are you doing over there with those losers still?" And he'd be like, "Hold on, let me look at my clock. Let me check. Oh, you got to hurry up before you become a loser. Let's go for a coffee. Come and work at Remax." That's what he would say all the time. But he passed away, and that changed the trajectory of my career, because I said, you know what, like, I don't want to just work 24/7 and teach people to work 24/7 and kill themselves, their health, their life, their career. I lost my dad. I want to teach them to do this differently.
Was your father a workaholic?
Well, he loved the business though. My mother was a workaholic, okay? So she was like the behind the scenes person, the lover, and the inside. My father was like the lover of everybody and just outside. And, they were a dynamic team. We were an amazing team, and it's never been replaceable. Like, we haven't been able to replace that. But it gave me that drive and that purpose to be like, no, we're not going to kill and destroy a life for a business. You got into business to become free, to have a better life, to have a better lifestyle. So we need to like undo all of that. And I've been spending, since he passed away, almost 20 years now, I've been spending most of my career undoing what the real estate industry did to me.
Okay.
Like undoing sleeping with my phone, texting 24/7, getting called by hundreds of agents. I've been undoing it for 20 years.
So most people have their phone glued to their hip.
24/7.
Do you have your phone glued to you? You put it away?
I do. My phone is my computer, so I never sit at the computer because I don't like it. I like to be going around and around and around. So I do anything from there, like everything, spreadsheets, like anything. And I hide from my kids on the toilet, and I type things and I send letters and emails. But the point I'm saying is I've learned how to not jump, not run, and teach people not to do that as well. And I think in today's world, especially with social media and all of this stuff, you can drown. You can drown in this business or in any business if you don't set boundaries, if you're not clear. And it's a leadership skill. Like, the more you can set those boundaries.
Of course, is it harder for somebody who's starting out that is like dream chasing or chasing that money to like say, hey, you know what, I need to take this call, even if it's like interrupting a dinner? And I guess in your case, you're well accomplished and you've done everything, so maybe that call can be answered at a later time? No,
I actually think the earlier you train people to do this, the better it is. So it's like, those people who are not accessible, you value them more, It's like okay, I always made a joke to make it stick in people's minds, and I make some weird jokes to make it, so you remember. So if you're going to go, and I know you don't need it, but let's just say you want to go get plastic surgery and change your nose or get boobs or something.
Yeah.
And you ring and you call the top doctor, or you call the doctor, ring, ring, and he answers the phone. Hello? You're not hiring that doctor to do your surgery. Like, I'm sorry. It's too
Some people might.
accessible. It was too fast. It was too... If they have to kind of like schedule you, if they kind of have to reach you in a different way through someone else, it's valued. You're valued.
So it's almost like chasing.
It's almost like, no, they feel a respect. Like, wow, I value your time because you value your time. If you value your time, I value your time. If you don't value your time, I'm going to take advantage of you and not value your time.
Do you think there's then those people that would say, he didn't answer, I don't want to deal with him?
No, I don't think so. I think for leads, you do have to have a, like, speed to lead. You have to answer. But you can't be that only person. Usually there's someone that's able to do that in a system, right? The office,
Maybe
the
an
secretary,
assistant?
an assistant, somebody.
Okay.
Like give them a line that someone will answer at least, right? Inside salesperson that wants an opportunity, something. But so when it's a lead, yes. But when that lead has converted into a potential client, there needs to be boundaries.
And then you just determine on how important that call is, I'm assuming.
They're all important, but we need to set boundaries. If we don't set boundaries, those people will use you, abuse you, take you. I was almost dead in the real estate industry. Everybody's sucking my blood because I was giving and giving and giving anytime they needed me. But you know what I found too? A lot of people within 2 seconds, not a lead. So if it's a lead online, they need to be quickly responded to. But if it's a potential client that you've already worked through the steps of the process, you must put those boundaries in place so you both know how to work with each other. So you offer them times, or if you let someone dictate your schedule, you're dead. You're in everybody else's control. You have to be in control of that, or the whole world's going to eat you alive.
So I myself take pride on answering my phone. So if it rings, I answer it.
Yeah.
Unless I don't like somebody. I'm kidding. In all reality, in all reality, I try not to miss a phone call. Yeah. And it is consuming, but it's always that fear of, hey, if I don't answer, what happens if that person calls somebody else and beats me to it?
Yeah. So I ask people all the time, do you want to be driven by fear? Or do you want to be driven by, being empowered, leading, being a leader, being in control, being the one? Which one is driving your life and your business? Because when you take control and you're leading from a different perspective and not fear, you can double, triple what you're doing because you'll be more efficient and effective with your time. So, if you're fearful, that's something to look at, I say, right?
It's funny because that choice of word is kind of dictating so much of what the world's going through on so many different levels.
It is.
Obviously, we'll touch on different topics as well, but that particular word of fear, it's whether it's on missing out or not wanting to be a part of something because you don't want to get embarrassed or whatever the case is. Yeah. It's funny you chose that word.
Actually, fear's driving our society and our businesses. The economy's changing, right? We see that.
Of course.
Interest rates, how many times did they lift them last year, increase them last year? That's ridiculous. That causes fear. Inflation, that causes fear. Loss of control. What's happening with the government? What happened with coronavirus? What happened with everything? Everything is out of everybody's control. What does that cause? Fear. When we're in fear, we're acting in survival. We're taking a survival action, right?
They say that the economy, or they say life is generally run on two different emotions, fear and greed.
Yeah.
So when they instill fear, it's usually the people that are well-to-do becoming more successful because they're obviously greedy, and it's like one of those, hey, let me go after it now because everyone's down and out.
Fear of losing.
Fear of losing out, and then the greed, obviously, for the people that are ruthless and just want to take over.
We were talking about how I'm a woman in the business, and then in the area of Vaughan or Woodbridge,
You have two kids?
I have 2 little kids. One is 7 and one is 3 years old. And we went through all IVF and all of that. It took a long time to have children. And, so I'm blessed now. But a lot of parents right now are scared. They're like, what's happening in the school systems? What's happening with the money situation? What's happening with banks? What's happening with the interest rates? What's happening with our homes? What's going to happen when we have to renew our mortgages? What's going to happen? They're just paralyzed in fear. Where do we put them in school? I can't afford any other school. What are we doing? What's happening? Why do we have to take this medicine that the government said we have to? Why am I losing my job if I don't take this? Why don't I have a choice? So it's this is all what's happening in the world is causing so much fear that's having everybody act in irrational sort of ways, or making decisions that they wouldn't normally make, or forced to make decisions they wouldn't normally make out of fear of the illness, fear of the losing their job, fear of not making money. Nobody's in control right now, and that's very dangerous. That is very dangerous. I think a
lot of people are just trying to get by, doing what they have to, right?
Yeah, survival.
So, and at that point, if it's compromising their morals or just inflicting harm on somebody else, they're doing it because they have to do it they have to survive.
Survival is so dangerous for our community. Survival is so dangerous for our world. survival, that mindset of survival is what's causing destruction in families, is what's causing divorces, is what's causing, and this is so important, so I'm glad we brought it up. It's what's causing during that period, like everybody, parents fighting with their kids to not see each other, best friends, like I had a best friend from childhood, we're no longer friends, just why? Because we see the world differently. Like, this is so dangerous.
Yeah, the whole world is very divisive right now.
On survival. This is that's where people want us. But in a survival mindset, we can't thrive, not in our business, not in our marriage, not in our home, not as parents, not as teachers. We're going to ruin our communities. We're going to ruin our marriages. We're going to ruin our families with the mindset of survival. We're going to make the wrong decisions, not the right decisions.
Do you think also because a lot of people are too focused on social media and want to try to live up to what other people are doing? Like, I think social media is fake. What do you think?
Yeah, totally fake. And it's so funny because I'll say a funny one too. So we would go, we went somewhere, me and my husband, and then he'd be like, who's that? And I'd say the name of the person. He's like, no. He's like, there's no way that's that person. And he pulls them up and he's like, this person. I'm like, that's the person. He's like, that should be illegal. How they present themselves online is like so fake. But I agree with you. It's a fake world and a fake reality that's being presented. And I'm actually worried for our community and our world because I like to talk about Vaughn since we're here, but I see a lot of people like spending money to impress people they don't like. I'm sure we all heard these quotes. They're trying to keep up with this image, but they're not preparing for the reality that's coming. Like, interest rates have increased, like, you know, the world's going to have economic changes. There's going to be, you know, changes in the monetary system. We have to prepare for reality, not keep up with, you know, the fake.
Do you think the interest rates are changing because this is all part of
I do.
An agenda?
Yeah, of course. The whole thing is all planned for us to be in survival. So I didn't want to get into the whole like information part because I could sit here all day and tell you the whole plan, what they're doing.
Tell us.
Why they're, no, but like
a lot of
why
people don't
they're
know.
doing it. Like, but here's the thing. We have to go above this now because the reason why this whole thing is happening all over the world at the same time, and not just Canada, it's orchestrated to cause your family, your life, your finances, and everything to be in survival mode.
Right.
Because when you are in survival mode, they have you under their control, the government, corporations, banks, and everyone who's connected to this, so that you then have to do whatever they say.
So I saw a video on Instagram where on July 1st, they're implementing the new monetary system. Mm-hmm. And so everyone's talking now about a digital currency and how the banks might just eliminate the money. Yep. And do you think this is part of the reason that they're kind of raising interest rates? They're trying to make us go into survival?
100%.
So that once we hit like ultimate bottom, people will say, hey, I have to accept the digital currency, else then I'm done.
No choice. Yeah. So what's happening is there's no way interest rates are rising all over the world that much, that often. Why? There's the 15-minute cities, which you touched on in your other podcast. Okay, yeah. The 15-minute cities coming. Why?
You think it's a real thing? Because not a lot of people...
Oh, yeah, it's totally real. Yeah, it's already happening and being implemented in different parts of the world, like in London, England. Here's the dangerous part that's happening, okay? So they had people take coronavirus money from the government so that they get used to like accepting money from the government. They work for corporations. People worked for corporations, governments, and everything that implemented and sort of forced something. Otherwise, they lose their job, which is their money. They lose their job, their survival. We saw a taste of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what they're doing is, look what they're doing. Moms and dads both have jobs to pay for a house and a car and everything and survive. They took the moms out of the homes too on purpose. So now our kids are in their schools. The government runs schools that, by the way, I don't know, it's glorified babysitting because I don't know what they're teaching them when AI, you're going to be able to download everything in 2 seconds. Half the stuff they're teaching them is irrelevant. Okay. So now they got you in a trap. So now when your kids are in school, which our mothers are very concerned right now, while all this agenda is happening with, you know, girl guys are reading, dressed in
Yes.
drag, reading stories to our kids. Now, guess what? When a parent says, well, I'm not happy with what's happening in the schools, I'm not happy, but I can't do anything because I don't have the money to move them into something else, because guess what? I'm choking. Inflation, interest rates are rising. I can't pay for my food. Both of us have expensive cars. Our mortgage is too much, and it's going to be more pretty soon. It's very dangerous what's happening. They planned it all to get to this level so that everybody's choking, that they have no choice but to accept what their kids are being taught, to pay for their bills, and to survive. And next time someone says, oh, you bought too much meat, so we're going to shut down your bank account, you can't do anything. So my recommendation, because you could talk about the agenda all day long.
Like how do
we can
people
be in fear all day long.
No, but how do people? It's hard to get everyone to come together, and unless we keep giving, like, I guess, episodes like this a platform and putting out the word, which they might even shut us down for doing this.
Yeah, it's okay.
But how do people see past this? How do they fix it? Like,
yes, I know. That's what so when I was coming here today, I was like, I could talk about everything that's happening like everybody else is for 3.5 years, because at the beginning I was. But you can find all this information if you really look and you really care to. You can find the information, and a lot of people are sharing it all day long. So now, what's the information? It's important to be informed, but it's not important to know about it all day, every day. You only need to know so much. Okay. Everybody knows enough. Now, what do we do about it? What do we do about it?
I think the problem there is there's a lot of people that actually, not that they don't know, that they believe what's being told.
They're in denial, yeah.
I don't think it's denial. I think they actually think that if you think outside the box, you're the crazy one. Like, I had somebody DM me on Instagram because I said that the fires might have been man-made.
Guaranteed. And
that person was like, hey, why would the government do that? You're
man-made by your government.
They actually thought I was crazy for insinuating that this might be a government ploy.
Yes.
But then I start to question myself, like, hey, what the heck? Like, does she have a point? And then I'm like, but there's a video of a fire being made. Yep. Right? So it's like, okay.
So there's two worlds right now.
I think it's okay to question things.
It is okay. And this is the thing. I see two realities since 2020. I see two realities happening. People that see what's being told to them and believe it. There's nothing wrong with them. I love them. I respect them. And I actually understand why they see it that way. I get it. Then there's people who see the world the other way. The destruction, what's happening, the manipulation, the agenda. I respect those people. Here's the thing. The world or the elite or whoever you want to call them want to keep us divided, okay? Right. They want one side to think one thing and one side to think another thing, and both sides to think they're right, to destroy your family, to destroy your marriage, to destroy your communities, to separate you. Here's the thing. If we're not united, meaning even though you think like that, I love you, I respect you, I actually understand why you think like that, and I get you. We will be dead in Vaughan and in the world. We are not going to make it through because we need community now more than ever. And it doesn't mean only like-minded people. It means, what did I go through in my life to make me see the world the way I see the world? And what did you go through in your life to make you see the world the way you see the world? Maybe I don't trust authority because my father died and doctors really didn't care. He had to push and say, hey, I'm sick. I don't feel well. I'm sick. I don't feel well. For a whole year until he went to the United States, paid for the test, then told he had stage 4 cancer, then died. Kind of woke me up a little bit. I researched the medical industry. Kind of woke me up a little bit. I had an autoimmune disease, almost died, suffered for many years, anxiety, depression. The system was not there for me. I see the world a little bit differently because of that. I see our system differently. I see authority differently. But if someone didn't go through any of that, right? They trust authority.
That, or if they're well accomplished and they want to not lose their job or their livelihood, they'll probably be more complicit and listen to what's being told.
Of course.
And so I think that's where it becomes a little bit dangerous and people can start fighting. And like you said, over the past couple of years, there's a lot of families that are
fighting.
Right. They don't want to see each other just because of whatever one side believes.
And I don't think we should fight. And I think that everyone's fighting, but how about we have to get back to the basics. So one, community is so important right now. If we don't have and find each other and support each other and learn what we're doing for business, what we're doing in the community, how to help each other and build a community again, and just stay online sharing information, we're in trouble.
It's hard though, because the younger generation lives by this. Yeah. They live by the social media. They live right now. I know a lot of independent stores are struggling because who wants to go there and spend $10 when you can buy it on Amazon and ship to your door for $8?
Of course.
Right? So there's a lot of issues in that regard. Okay, we're going to deviate a little bit. Your 2 kids, when you had your kids, you were still working?
Yeah.
And then
we've always been working. Yeah.
Okay. And your kids are in the public system of the school? You pulled them out?
So I put my daughter, I never really wanted my kids in the public system because I and my husband didn't really fit in it back then. So we felt like it was a little antiquated back then as well. And then I put her in a Christian school, and then they started putting a mask on a kindergartner. So within the first 2 days, I took her out of school.
And where
and then I homeschooled her, and then I found a pod that's alternative education and a leadership school that will work with, their natural.
There's a lot of people, a lot of mothers, fathers included, that are looking at alternatives because of what's transpired in the schools.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the whole transgender thing.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, and we'll talk about that.
Big.
But there's also then a lot of people are now starting to say, I'd rather my child be taught livelihood, like skilled trades and how to invest and all that, as opposed to the
life skills.
No, the life skills is what they want them to learn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
as opposed to like the history and stuff that might not be relevant in their future.
That Chat GPT is just gonna spit out for them.
Do you have a lot of I guess friends that are mothers that are doing the same thing? Like,
yeah. So I have a friend who started a school, an alternative school.
Is it hard to start a school?
No, they have experience with at least teaching and stuff like that in business. But I just think this leads to a great conversation of we're either going to complain about what's happening and constantly complain about what's happening, or we're going to do something about it. So I actually admire people who are like, I don't even know how to do this, but I just know we need to change the world in our community. So I'm going to start a school and I'm going to do it differently. And those people take action rather than just share fear or negative. You know what I mean? Like,
there's 2 types of people. There's people that do, and there's people that watch.
Well, we need that. We need that. And if we don't, we're not going to build a new world. And that's why I say for you, like, because people trust you in real estate, people trust you in sales, like with their investment. If I could give anybody advice, is 1, pick someone you trust to help you with your family's investment. But 2, prepare for this reality in this future. If you're already over here, reduce your load. Change your, go into a smaller home, let it go and prepare, because then you'll have some finances available to move them into these schools if things get a little bit nuts.
Is it expensive to?
Well, most people are paying for their mortgages, didn't factor in for school because school was free. It's expensive.
So are your kids considered private school?
It's private, but it's not. It's alternative rather than like those high end.
Yeah, because some private schools are like a couple $1,000 a month.
Like 40, 50, those crazy ones.
Right.
This is like reasonable, but still, no one planned for that. No one planned for that fee.
Was it because of the whole transgender thing that you took them out?
No, I took her out because of a mask, but she wasn't in the public system. She was in a private school anyways. I took her out because of the masks and then found a pod that doesn't believe in any of this stuff. But because they were in fear. I'm not going to teach my kid fear. Yep. But most of my friends and parents now, what's waking them up, the people who, were okay with everything, is the transgender agenda, the books that are in the public library or the schools.
That was a little disturbing.
Catholic school, I saw some stuff reading to our kids. Like, my friends have to stop halfway through and then they're like, do you know what was in this book?
Yeah, it's really disturbing, to be honest. I saw a couple of people post on social media. And I'm like, how are kids 7, 8 years old learning this stuff?
Why is that allowed in those schools? That's in a good way, in a sad way, that's happening. In a good way, it's waking up parents to be like, I can't believe this is happening. We need to change something.
But going back to our further point, do you feel like a lot of parents are scared to speak out because they don't want to lose their job?
They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to lose their friends. They don't want to lose their families. They don't want to have attention on them. They don't want to be called out as like homophobic or this or that. They're afraid, of course. Yeah. They're uncomfortable.
Do you think that more people, because not too many people will know that there's an alternative schooling program that your kids are in. Do you think that if they knew that, they would maybe instead of speaking out, they'll take their children out and put them in there?
I know, but here's the problem we're having. Many people did move their kids into one, and they're drowning financially because of the inflation, the trap that they can't afford it.
Is there a way?
Reduce your debt load. Sell your house.
Or what about if there's more kids? It's almost like a supply and demand issue. If there's more kids, it will bring down the cost, no?
It could. There's not enough yet. Like, it's like we're at that precipice point. Like, people want to, but don't know how to make it happen financially.
Correct.
And some of them are not willing to let go of how things look, their nice house, their car, and change their circumstances to make that possible.
Would you put your kids into the public sector school system if they didn't invoke this transgender movement?
No, I think it's changing anyways. I think the education system is antiquated. What they're teaching them is not empowering them for the future. They're dumbing them down anyways, and we need a new future of education regardless. So I would never put them back in there. I feel like I think there's a lot of great teachers, because I have friends who are teachers. They're great. They love the kids. They do teach them well, but the education model in general of what they're teaching them, history is not true history. So why are you wasting my kids' time? Whenever people say to me, oh, there's so many kids with ADHD now. No, these kids are bored because they can chat GPT the answers, and you're wasting their time. They're not. They're bored. Yeah. You're wasting their time. I used to be like, sir, why are you teaching us this? What do we need this for? What is it going to apply to? Is it going to apply to anything in the future? You're wasting my time. That's not ADHD. That's called he's an efficient kid, and he doesn't want you to waste his time. If you put him in a system where he's learning entrepreneurial skills to run a little business, right? That's what we're doing in the alternative education. They're excited about what they're doing. They're so happy.
Right. And is it the same hours?
It's the same hours, and you also have after-school activities at some of them.
And they get like a break and recess, obviously. Like
yeah.
Same, so they can go outdoors.
Structure. Yeah.
Wow. I'm curious to see, like, as this grows, I'm assuming that the alternative program will start to get more students there, and in 5 years' time. And then I would like to see, like, how more, I guess, intelligent the ones in the alternative system are compared to the ones in the public. It's almost like they should do, like,
a study.
A competition.
And you know what? Homeschooling has been big for a long time, but it's hidden. It's judged like, so they call homeschoolers like as if they're weird, just like conspiracy theorists.
No, it's not that it's not that it's weird. The challenge with homeschooling is that they're not so social, like the social life.
But they do really well.
I think when it comes to the actual curriculum and the studies, obviously they should be more advanced, because you get more, I guess, hands-on. But with homeschooling, the challenge is just the social life, that you don't get to see the students or your I guess peers every single day. And I think that's where, I guess, the downfall might be to that. But the alternative, if you're in a classroom and you're learning collectively with maybe 10, 15 people, you don't lose that, and you get that balance.
Yeah. That's what homeschoolers did, though. They would put them in a community of other homeschoolers as well to cause
some homeschoolers were just taught
just home,
just at home, and I guess it's evolving now as we learn more. So that's the interesting thing.
Just be careful when the world tries to tell us you're a conspiracy theorist, or that's weird, or that's not, normal. I think I look at it the opposite. Like, okay, what are they trying to, limit or control because they're downplaying something? I like to be critically thinking about.
Okay, but there are a lot of people that are putting out conspiracies that are actually crazy. Like, like you obviously see them on social media. And like, okay, even though we like to question things, or at least I like to question, I assume you do too. but there's things on there that like are hard to even believe.
Yeah, for sure.
So
well,
like,
that's why it's called a conspiracy theory. Yeah, it's very difficult to believe. Yeah.
So wait, but then the conspiracy theories that we actually thought about previously, they didn't turn out to be conspiracies.
They came true.
They actually were true, but they were calling them conspiracies at the beginning.
Yes. Yeah.
And some people look crazy saying this stuff.
They want that.
But now, like,
they want us to sound
years
crazy.
later, months later,
it's coming true.
And I don't think people.
But here's the thing: it's so interesting. They say, "Oh, it's a conspiracy." What? You could go to the website, the WEF, and download the whole document, and it tells you the conspiracy right there. So I don't understand. I used to say to my friends, they'd be like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Look, there's a whole document on government websites covering it. It's not like they're telling you themselves what they're doing."
The WEF and that whole platform in itself, I can't.
All of them, all of them.
I know it's obviously a group of elites that are obviously running the world. They're implementing their stuff, but there has to be some good too with them. It can't just be bad. We just gotta,
of course,
we gotta waver through what's bad, and I guess everyone's morals and beliefs will allow them to deviate into which.
And that brings us back to us, like when you have a best friend who thinks something differently, that doesn't change your heart. You're both good people.
Right.
How do we figure out how to still be friends, still unite, still work together, still be a community when we think differently, when we have different views, when we see it differently? How do we work together? Because clearly both sides have some of the truth.
Right.
Both of them are some of the truth. How do we work together, back together as a community?
Well, I wouldn't say the word fear, but do you sometimes get upset when people either challenge you on what you say or they stop following you because they don't like
I used to, yeah. So like in 2020 when I was full of fear and I was just new to learning about what's going on, I was like, what's happening to our world? I had a little baby. He was just born. He's 3 years old. And I'm like breastfeeding in the dark going, what happened to the world? Like, what's going on? I was scared as a mom. I was terrified. And then I thought I should try to help my friends. And I started sharing. Well, then that wasn't received well. And yes, at the beginning I was emotional because when you act in fear, like we talked about before, you're not rational. You can't have a calm discussion. But once I moved through all that and accepted, this is our reality, this is life. What are we going to do about it?
What were you fearful of? Like losing followers?
No, not being in control of what's happening in our world, not understanding what's happening in our world.
We're never in control of our world.
But it was so much new stuff, like a sickness, a this.
Place.
It was an overwhelm of like, everything's changing. And I think there's evil people out there, and I'm trying to prepare my friends to protect themselves.
Evil or greedy, yeah.
Greedy.
100%.
Evil and greedy. I find greed to be evil because you will hurt another human being for your own gain and success, and that at the root of that greed is evil. It's darkness. Because why would you hurt another human being for you to be more successful? It's sad.
You're very religious?
I'm not religious. I have a relationship with Jesus Christ, but not religious. So I look at them very, very different. Like religious is like, you tell me what to believe, what to think, and I stand up and sit down and I have no brain and I'm just going to do what you say. And clearly I'm not one of those people. So I have a relationship with God, my creator, Jesus Christ. And I have morals and values and biblical foundation, but nobody controls me, dominates me, tells me what to do. But I respect my creator.
Do you go to church?
I go to church, a Christian church, not because I have to, not because I should, because I enjoy the experience. And I do not stand up, sit down, or recite prayers because I'm not in the Catholic Church anymore.
Do you go like weekly? Is it something you do?
I go weekly or, even a few times a week, whatever it is. Yeah.
Do you identify as a certain religion?
Christian. Under Christian, like in Woodbridge, it's like Catholics, Christian, under the umbrella of Christianity, but I'm a born again Christian. And meaning I chose my own faith for me instead of my parents. This could be a whole long. The point is, because a lot of people get triggered by religion, because I look at religion like what the government's doing to people. You do what I say or I don't pay you.
Okay, where I was going with this was if you went to church, like if you believed in everything the church stands for, and obviously, I guess Christian is a part of
the umbrella of Christianity.
Yeah. Right. And it's a little bit different than being Catholic. Yeah, right, being Catholic, because some people think that what they're starting to do is deviate from the original beliefs and morals, which every time the Bible changes, it's like it doesn't change for the better. It's kind of changing for the worse.
The Bible doesn't change.
The words in it do.
People may change the Bible or misinterpret the Bible or try to reinvent it and try to manipulate it. It's not the Bible that changes or has changed.
It's the context within it that changes.
No, that doesn't either.
The words changed.
No. Yes, they're planning to change the words. Yes.
I think they've already done it, right? Because there's now a new Bible and versus the old Bible.
That's not good. Yes, there should not be a new Bible. It's not true, right? That's why I say to everybody, go get some Bibles, because they're about to make an AI whole new version of everything. And if you try to Google it, no, it's going to be all manipulated and lies. And this is a whole long conversation, but that's why I say, if you have a relationship with God, your creator, they could change and manipulate the Bible all they want. He's inside you.
Right.
So like, where are you going? You're not going to be successful. Guess who made the whole world? You know, when people worship like the universe, oh, I bow to the universe. Thank you, universe. Give me the car and the meditate and all this. I call it the kumbaya effect. Why are you worshiping the universe when God made the universe? You're gypping yourself, man.
They're missing a step.
God's bigger than the universe. Like, he made it and then everything in it and beyond it. So you just like tapped into like way less of a power than your creator himself. You're totally getting manipulated and gypped.
They went to a third party.
You're like, wait, you went to a third party to like find out the answers, and you wonder why you're getting sent on these excursions, and then you're lost.
So it's okay to, I guess, worship or believe in what you want and not be told what to believe and how to do things, because at the end of the day, I think it goes on all religions. They all have their bottom line agenda. Well, you know,
a religion does, yes.
Correct.
A relationship doesn't.
Correct.
There's a difference.
And you know what actually upset me a lot with the churches that I've been going to? They always ask for money. Like, it's so crazy. And I remember watching. So
here's a question. I have to do it now. It's so
right.
deep, man, but I got to. I'm sorry, I have to stop you there. Everybody always, that's for money, that's for money, that's for money, that's for money, that's for money. Here's the thing, okay? Oh, this can go for like a year, but I have to say this. There's two worlds about to take place in the world. God's, okay? And evil, greedy, whatever system. Here's the thing, wait. Hold on, this gets good. Okay. So, it's so funny because we go to like a football game, and I don't know how much you have to pay for a box for a football game or one of those games, hockey, basketball, whatever. How much is it?
It's like 10 grand.
10 grand. So they're asking you for money, right?
Of course.
They're asking you for money. How much do those players make when they play one stupid, have to say it, stupid game?
Okay, now you're insulting
me. Say it, come on. How much do they make?
Depends.
You paid 10 grand, so they asked you for money. Yeah. You willingly, happily gave it. Right. And then how much do they make?
Oh, some make millions.
Amazing. For entertainment, that is not going. Hold on.
Okay.
It's not going to better your life.
1 second.
It is not going to better your family life. It is not going to better your health. It's not going to better anything. Wait. So now, we saw the governments of the world and corporations of the world and the Elon Musks and the, celebrities, how much money do they make? Athletes, how much money do they make? Hold on. Governments, how much money do they make? Banks, how much money do they make? Wait a second. And they say they're doing everything for our good and providing for us and everything. They're like billionaires and trillionaires. And guess what? They're running the world and they're running the agenda right now. And guess who said, you better take this medicine or I don't pay you anymore? Your corporation, your government, your establishments that are taking all your money. They're taking all your money. And we're happily giving them all our money. No problem. I'll give you my money. But when it comes to God, or if we have to advance God's agenda in our community, if we have to do stuff for him, I'm not giving you $10, God. Even though you gave me everything, I'm not even going to give you $10, man. But it's all yours. And it's all for you. So here's where we're going in the future. We're going to continue investing in those greedy people who are going to suck and destroy and ruin your lives through addiction, through drugs, to entertainment. Or we're going to start to invest in, not the church, I'm saying, things that are going to help your family, things that are going to help your health, things that are going to help the community with old school principles. I'm not saying the church. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do want to
I just want
to tell you something on the whole.
Sorry, I get very excited.
No, that's cool. I just want to say something on the whole athlete thing. Okay.
Okay. Fine. I'm sorry. I'm not.
I can never. So I used to think like athletes were overpaid too, and they didn't deserve what they want.
I'm not saying that they're not. I'm not saying I get it.
But I will never question an athlete on how much they make, because the time that you're away from your kids, like when we went to Florida.
No, I get that. They work hard too.
No, not even about the work, but it's the time that they had to leave their family.
I know, they sacrifice things.
That is priceless. So we went to Florida and I left my family, my kids.
Can I tell you how much a pastor sacrifices his time and life as well, leaving his family?
But they still come home to their family.
Can I tell you how much they leave their family if you knew the pastoral world to serve God? Because we don't know, because we've been raised with like the Catholic faith.
Wait, so are pastors allowed to be married and have kids?
They're married and have kids, and they leave their family.
Priests are not.
Priests are not.
Wait, Catholic priests are not, because
they're not allowed.
So I'm Orthodox, and our priests are allowed to
get married
and have kids.
Greek Orthodox.
Greek Orthodox.
Yeah, they're allowed. That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me.
Right. Well, there's a lot.
You're giving us a marriage advice, I think, and hope you would be.
No, it's just the whole thing. I don't know what a pastor goes through. Funny enough, my dad's first cousin is a pastor, but I never met the guy, so I won't get too deep into that. But I will never question an athlete or any person who has to leave their family on how much they can make. Like you can give them $1 billion, I still tell you it's not enough.
Then that confirms my answer to giving money to a pastor or a godly person or someone advancing the work of God.
I'm not saying that they don't deserve to make money. It's when the church asks you for money and tells you have to, or in some cases, what's been told to me is that if you don't donate, you're going to go to hell.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Right.
That's not biblical. Yeah.
Right. That's kind of...
You definitely do not have to invest in a kingdom if someone's telling you that.
Right.
It's incorrect.
And then I obviously watched a show or a movie before, and I saw Jesus go, and he saw everyone asking for money in the house of, I guess, his house, and he just threw all the money on the floor. So he was
mad not because they were asking for money. They were manipulating and cheating the poor people. They were not just asking for money. They were lying, cheating, and stealing from people who should not be stolen from. Not that they were selling, asking for money.
Do you believe that one day that, I guess, Jesus or God, or Jesus in this particular instance, will come back to earth?
I believe the Bible.
I honestly got to start reading the Bible.
I believe the Bible.
What does the Bible say?
The Bible tells us, this agenda that's occurring? It maps it all out for us of what's happening, why it's happening, and how to protect ourselves. So your Father, who is your creator, who made you perfectly, you're an amazing person, an amazing man, right? He made you. And
I'm a man.
Yeah. Do you have kids or no?
I do have two.
Oh, how old are they?
I have a 3-year-old.
Sorry, I should have asked that before.
3-year-old, and I have a 8-month-old.
And aren't they beautiful and perfect?
Fantastic.
And aren't you just like, wow?
Yeah, 100%.
So God created all of that.
Right.
Okay. He's so amazing. He's your dad and loves you so much. You're a dad now.
Right.
Do you love your kids so much that if you died, you would leave them a book with everything in it to make sure they know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and protect themselves from what's going to happen in this world when you're gone?
Of course. I think every
parent
should have that.
That's that book. If my father who died left me a book like that, I'd be reading it every single day. And he did. And it's called Our Father in Heaven. He left us a book with all the answers. And none of us... I never believed it. Everybody would talk about it and I'd be like, yeah, okay. It's all fake stories. Like, you serious? Like, are we doing this? This is antiquated. This is old. It's incorrect. It took me time to learn that is straight from our Father.
What experience or challenge did you have? Was it your father passing away that made you go down that path?
Real estate was a very difficult path growing up in. So they were very strong personalities, 24/7 working, addiction. I had a lot of depression and anxiety, I think, just from overworking at a young age and chasing this success and this lifestyle. And then, which was normal in real estate, how it is, right? And then, then my father died, but I was already dealing with depression and anxiety very young. Had a lot of responsibility young in high school.
There's more of that coming up.
It's a lot.
You think it's more because of the social media?
I think that people are growing up too early. Clearly, if they have to like wonder what gender they are at 7 years old instead of play with Barbies and just be a kid, they're going to have to deal with these issues that they don't have to deal with. And then they're maturing or taking on adult responsibilities or thought thinking too early. And it causes a lot of stress and pressure for sure, and confusion in the children, right? And then it causes anxiety, depression, pressures. They're looking at this fake social media every day, comparing themselves to all these people. It's all fake.
Is that why you think, like, so you think it's more like, I guess, society created than it is like an actual condition? Or
I think society is contributing to it, yes, because I no longer have anxiety and depression. Why? I undid a lot of that mindset. I undid a lot of that expectation. I put a lot of boundaries around myself.
That's amazing.
And I don't have it anymore. Why? I was the other way before, and now I'm undoing the world's way and what their expectation, and it's gone. Why?
Because you change your mindset.
But how many, not just my mindset, how I see the world, how I protect myself, what I focus on, what am I allowing myself to focus on or get into my experience and my reality? I block out. The good thing about social media is it connects us to everybody and everything. We can get these messages out where we couldn't before, but we need to, like anything, like the real estate business when I was telling you before, you need boundaries. If there's stuff coming in your eyes and your ears that are negative, going to depress you, make you anxious, you have the opportunity to block it out. You can unfollow, you can block, you can set boundaries around your existence. If you go into my social media, I'm receiving all positive things, mostly, and I'm not in denial. I know the world is crazy.
Because of what you post, do people also give you a lot of hate?
Yeah, I got a lot of hate. I got a lot of people unfollowing me. I got a lot of people hating me, telling me off, and so what? You know what my mother always said, and I have to give her props for this? She always said, if you are not being talked about good or bad, you are not doing anything. You are not doing anything in the world. You're hiding. You're invisible.
It's almost like bad publicity.
It's good publicity. It is. So if you're not talked about or no one's paying attention to you or they're not saying good or bad, you're hiding. You're not doing anything. You're hiding. Come out. Expect that some people are going to agree with you and hate you. Some people are not. Big deal. Are they hurting you? Just delete and block them. It's not that hard these days. Bye. Like, it's very simple.
What do you say to those kids that want to come out of the closet that might actually be gay?
Like, out of the closet that might actually be gay?
Yeah.
I say first, because I'll always say this first, go to God your Father first. And at least he created you. So pray and ask him for direction on how to be led in that conversation.
You think kids are born gay or you think they become gay?
I think that they become gay. They become gay. Yeah. But
I think
it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what I think. Who cares what I think?
It does, because
you know what I think?
Because you have kids, and if
I'll love my kid no matter what. Here's the thing, no matter what. And I'll always guide my kid to go back to a relationship with God and let God direct him, not culture. I call society today the cult. It's culture. Okay?
But doesn't the Bible say that being gay...
You're not born gay.
But doesn't it say being gay is wrong?
It's a sin.
It's a sin.
Yeah, a sin. But you swearing is a sin. You cheating on your wife, let's say, is a sin. They say, right? Okay. Being a gambler is a sin. Being a drug addict is a sin.
Shit, we're sinning every
sleeping
day.
with multiple people is a sin. So we're just saying it's a sin. We're not saying anything about the sinner. We're not saying anything about the person. We love the person. We accept the person. Even if you're a murderer, you're like a dad. I'm going to love my son. I'm going to love my daughter. We're talking about the sin. We're not talking about the person. There's a distinction that people get very confused.
They say Jesus sinned too. Is it true?
No, he was not.
Are you
he
sure?
was the sinless, perfect lamb. If you believe the Bible, which some people don't, but I do, then he's a sinless,
So you never think
lamb.
he swore in his life?
He was sacrificed for us to free us.
He lived what, until 33?
Yeah.
And he's
33.
And he's never sinned in his life. You don't think he's ever swore?
It doesn't matter what I think. Do you see the difference? It's not what I think. If you don't believe the Bible, then you would think whatever you think. For me, I've experienced the truth of the Bible. He was a sinless, perfect lamb that his Father sacrificed for us to be free, to be set free, because we are in a sinful world. There was I don't know, I think like 26 people over a span of 1,500
Is it like the
years.
disciples?
And I do have to say, not just disciples, but over 1,500 years. And it's the only book all the prophecies that came true in the span of 1,500 years that they wrote it. There's so much to learn about it. This is what would blow my mind. It's mathematically and scientifically impossible for all of those prophecies to have come true. So anybody who tries to disprove the Bible, in the end of their trying to disprove the Bible, ends up falling in love with Jesus Christ and believing in the truth of it because of the science and the
How many times have you read it? And do you read it over again?
Well, I don't read it like straight back to forward, you know? Like I think I've read it now a couple of times, but I haven't read it like straight. It's like
do you teach your kids to read it? And
so that's another thing I wanted to tell you. So I wanted to talk about this as we wrap up because, you know, people are going to say, okay, we could get into all these discussions.
Right.
Religion, money, schools, the agenda. But what is like the takeaway, right? Like what is the takeaway that we need to do here in Woodbridge now? What can we do now? Here's the thing, because I'm not going to convince anybody about my beliefs. Like everybody do their thing. You know, I believe what I believe. The thing is, if we don't unite and we don't start developing communities and supporting each other and we don't start trusting each other again, we're in trouble. So I just want to leave everybody with one thing. Do something.
Okay.
Do something, meaning don't just bitch about it.
Yeah.
Don't just complain about it. Don't get depressed in
Try
your
to make it
bed.
better.
Do something.
Do
something.
I'm going to ask you a tough question then.
Yeah.
Would you ever get into politics?
Well, I don't like politics, but look, I'm doing something in my community.
A lot of people, maybe.
But I am. So I have a women's group. It's called Wake the Faith Up. And I replaced the bad F word with faith.
Nice.
It was called Wake the F-U-C-K Up. And then I put the faith on top because guess what? I was just as screwed up as anybody. And I don't want to forget how screwed up I was. So I put the faith on top of the F-U-C-K on purpose. What is it about? Everybody rejects religion. It's about people, women, because women have different needs, right?
Sure.
Women coming together to have a relationship with God, not religion. Undo this religious crap that's been controlling our lives. Undo it. So I did something about it. I just started this year. There's like 55 people in a program finishing right now, starting another one in September. That's an example. We transform lives. People wanted to kill themselves in the beginning of February. They no longer want to kill themselves. They have friends. They met new people. Their kids want to kill themselves. What are we doing now? Hey, let's get them together. We started not a Bible religion study, but a group where Christian kids can meet together and they no longer have to feel lost, scared, confused, wanting to commit suicide.
Just Christian kids?
This one right now, because they want to learn about the Bible, right?
Okay.
Or people interested in learning about God, like in general for their kids. Because here's the truth. They're taking God out of schools, even our Catholic schools, as we can see. So I'm doing something about it. And then marriages. Me and my husband, our marriage was destroyed. I saw through my women's group and in general, marriages are being destroyed. What are me and my husband doing? We're putting a weekend seminar together for marriages to transform marriages. Because guess what? If we save your marriage and we save your kid, we save you from anxiety, depression, not we, God. If you are saved from that, no one can control you. No one can dominate you. You can make money. You could be successful. You could be powerful. It starts with your marriage. It starts with your kid. It starts with your home. It starts with God who created you above the universe. And then from there, no one can control you ever again.
Starts from the house. The house is...
Yeah. I don't need to be in politics.
If you come home to a happy house and your house is good, I think then...
If you have a united marriage...
I think there's two things. Yeah. If
you're like unstoppable.
And obviously health. Assuming health is
good.
Health and happy and a good... foundation at home.
What are they destroying out there? Marriage, family? You think they're not doing that on purpose?
I was reading a stat. I think Canada ranks number 3 in divorce rates at like 49%.
Think they're not doing that on purpose? Weaken you. You're individual. You're by yourself. You don't have a team. You don't have your family intact. When you are in survival mode, guess what you can accomplish? This.
So we play a game. You get your chance to say anything you want.
Anything?
Are
you sure?
I'm gonna show you 4 faces. They're obviously well known, and you get to say what you want to these as if you were face to face with them right now.
What I want to say to these people?
Yeah, anything you want to say.
Not anything. Okay, I'll try to be respectful though.
Kim Kardashian. What would you say to her right now if you were face to face with her?
I would use the title of your show and say, "Be real."
You think she's fake?
Yeah.
Why do you think so many girls like her though?
You know what? I think she represents like what they would like. She's beautiful. She's very successful. She has money, all of that stuff. She did have a family. She had her kids and all that. So everybody wants that, right? They all want the package of everything. They want it all. You know what I mean?
But she like her marriage is
broken now. Yeah.
I don't know how many guys she's
totally
gone out
broken.
through.
Yeah. That's why I'd say be real. Just be real. Be the real you, not like just be the real you. I don't think you're real. I don't.
Okay, cool.
You're not authentic. It's like you're pretending to be authentic. You know? And you know what? Most people can't even achieve this. This is not achievable. Like you needed like a lot of surgery.
I was the only picture that I could get. Honestly, I had a hard time.
But it's not achievable. Like, so you're lying to the young women of today to achieve an ideal that is impossible to achieve. And that is so mind disturbing for our youth today. That's so mind disturbing. And please make yourself more real so our kids don't try to become like you, which is impossible. And then because they're not like you, they want to commit suicide.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
If it depends what.
That's the way I look at it.
It depends what the message is. Like,
yeah,
I won't get into why she's famous, but we all know that there's tapes around.
Yeah, just be real.
All right.
Right?
I agree.
I would say just be real.
I agree. Okay.
Oh.
Stephen Lecce.
Oh, Stephen Lecce.
Minister of Education. What would you say to him right now?
I'd say you're weak. You are not doing what's right for the children and their future and the future of education. You should step down from your position before we take you down from your position, because that's in your near and or distant, but in your future. I'm sorry. I just have to say that. I don't think he's doing the right thing. Clearly, because if you're the Minister of Education, all of our schools there's kids as cats eating.
Yeah, that's
I'm
ridiculous.
sorry,
that's ridiculous.
You're the lead of that, and it entered somehow. You're responsible. You're responsible.
Do you think it's they're forcing it on him and he has no choice?
I don't care. You want to take a position of leadership, you lead. I don't care. You should have a choice, and if you don't, you're in a mafia.
If he stepped down, would you put yourself up? Would you nominate yourself for that?
I don't want to go into politics.
But you could help so many people.
No, I'm not a politician.
You wouldn't do it.
I'm going to be
What'd you say to
the pastor who asks you for money that you're like, oh my God. I'm kidding.
I'm not giving it. Hillary
joking.
Clinton. What would you say to her?
Oh my God. You need to go to jail a long time ago, lady. You should have been in jail a long time ago. You and your husband.
So you think the stories of her are real, or some
totally of them? 1,150,000% true. She is a deceiver. She is a liar.
So when she lost, you were happy that she lost?
Oh, well, at that point, because neither of them, at that point, I wasn't sure about either of them. But you know, but I felt in my soul, which is called discernment, she has evil.
She's scary.
Her. She scares me, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, when she smiles, I'm like, I want to like do the exorcism on her.
I was happy when Donald
Trump. Her demons.
I was happy when Donald Trump won.
Me too, yeah. I was happy. It was shocking because I was like,
yeah,
it is like holy. A reality at that time, a reality TV star just became the president. Like that was shocking, right?
So I was at a Leaf game with my buddy, and we started to see the results that Donald Trump was going to win. Donald Trump was going to, and then it started the whole, even in Toronto, the entire arena was like, oh my God.
It's one of those moments you're like, I'll never forget the moment that happened in the world, you know?
I think because he's a good guy. I like him.
I like him. I do. I like him. I'm just saying at that time I was like,
what would you
I
say
don't
to
know
him?
who should win.
What would you say to this guy? Pierre Poilievre.
Well,
Poilievre.
Okay, so I wasn't sure because there was sometimes like he would flip. So he's conservative and I like that. And, you know, he's smart and he calls out Trudeau and he does a lot of those things. But there was a period where I'm like, is he going like two ways? You know, he was confusing. And then he just announced or said that Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior. And I'm not saying because of religion. I'm saying if anyone can publicly in today's world in politics claim their Lord in front of all of their peers, I have respect because it's not easy to do.
Okay, but what...
That's it. That means
that's what resonated with you. But
yeah,
does it take away from the policies that he might like or implement?
Well, he's conservative, so they align with the policies anyway.
But they say he could be part of the WEF that you're scared of.
I don't know. That's why he was crooked. But until he said Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior, I now trust him more.
Do you think that's why they have do you think we'll end off on this. Do you think that's why they identify as liberal, conservative, NDP? They divide people. Is that?
Totally.
You think that if there was like,
everything is division?
You think if there was actually a united party that was for the people, that the people would then come together?
Well, that's what they're trying to make it look like is going to happen. The one world government, the one world religion, the one global monetary system. So they're working towards that to be like, let's not divide anymore. Let's all be one.
That's universal.
We're doing it.
Right?
It's going to be very dangerous.
I'm saying like
one world religion.
Nationwide. If there was like...
But they're planning to put all the nations together. They're going to build that whole big lie.
I don't mind. Personally, myself, I don't mind us like merging with the U.S. Like
I don't mind being.
I love.
I think we're lucky we're even attached to them, or we would be in communism already and completely. I don't know what we would be without the US. I was born
to be American.
Yeah, me too. I feel that too. Yeah.
Right. So,
I do feel it in my soul.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Florida?
Yeah, I love Florida. I want to move there. I'm trying to get my husband to go. Yeah.
Well, Florida's if you still have your real estate license, we can help you get there.
I would like to actually. We have to have that conversation.
100%.
I do feel American at heart. Christian American at heart. And I do feel lucky to be blessed to be attached at the border to the one country that they're going to try to take down that I don't think is going to go down.
It is probably the most corrupt country, but it's probably it's my favorite country.
It's not the most corrupt. They're all corrupt.
Right.
They're all corrupt.
Okay,
but guys, read the Bible. The history is there. You think this didn't happen over and over and over? It happened over and over and over. We're just doing it again. We're doing it again.
The problem is, can we come back from it?
Can we come back from it?
Yeah, that's going to be the question. It's going to be
hard. It depends on
this reset. Might be
who are you putting your faith in?
No, it's not about
people.
Faith. It's not about faith.
With God, you can come back from anything. Not only will you come back, there's always a Renaissance period. There's always a period of like a revolution and a renaissance that is like where creativity comes from, new businesses come from, new opportunities come, where we are lucky to be alive on the other side of this. I look at it totally different.
That's amazing. Well, Giuditta, thank you very much for doing this. I said it right?
Yeah, it's okay. Sort of.
Giuditta.
I
got it right, guys.
She's even looking at you like, come on.
Giuditta. I got it right, guys.
But thanks for having me.
I appreciate you doing
this.
This was fun. It was a lot of fun. And
I'm glad I met you, and now we fixed it. It's great. Of course.
Okay, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let us know what you think. Appreciate you guys watching.